Hello everybody, San here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And today's video, I want to talk about how CRISPR could reduce the number of animals tested in labs and so on. And of course, this is more reference to anyone that supports the idea that less animals should be tested in labs. I think most of us, I would argue all of us at this point, I think we definitely, if there wasn't any other way of doing science on non-animals, I think people would have done it a long time ago, right? The reason why it hasn't been done is because it's just the best way of doing it right now, right? I mean, it's sort of the philosophy of the duty ethics or utility. I don't know how to say it. Utilitarianism. I don't know how to pronounce it, but basically the idea is that whatever you do is for the greater good, right? And I guess testing on animals and injecting with some chemicals in hopes that you could sort of move on to a phase 1 clinical trial on humans is really the idea that you're trying to do those tests before getting to humans so that you don't harm the human, but you instead test those out before you get to the human part. And it just happens, this is the best way of us testing it. So look, I don't want mice, I don't want monkeys to be tested. I think there are ethics to be followed. I think there are rules. I think there are procedures, operations that we have to put on. But to say that we're going to be in the anytime soon we're going to have zero animals tested is quite a naive statement. And even if you're not in the science space, you already know that there's no chance of that happening anytime soon, if not in our lifetime, right? So this article here actually, how animal studies play their role in biomedical research revolution. I found it interesting because the author here from Spain, so this is sort of a European Animal Research Association, so you already know they're pro-animal, we're all pro-animal, I don't know what, that term even means these days, but the point is, they go through, what CRISPR is, what it could do, what it has been doing in clinical trial, but also preclinical on animals. But there's a statement here I think I found very powerful, right? CRISPR and reducing animal numbers. And I state here, and I quote, the resulting mice will be born already carrying the 3 required mutation, cutting down animal numbers by at least 60%. Now, it's a shame that in this author didn't link to any sort of research to back this figure up. But if it's really going to cut down numbers by 60%, which the author makes a strong case for it. He talks about the repair, reduce, refine, and he talks about how you could sort of also hit the embryos, which again will not happen with humans anytime soon. I've already explained that many times in past videos. But for animals, of course, as long as you follow certain operations and through guidelines, so on, that is permitted. Through those types of mechanism, you can sort of achieve a significant amount of reduction in animals tested. Now, that is a really, really promising talk because I don't think there's any technology that I've never seen, in the biotech world, and from what I recollect, a technology that's able to reduce animal numbers tested by 60%. That is really big. That is a big number. I just wish they had posted a backed up, research. But the reason why I'm covering this here is because it gets my mind juicing, and hopefully yours as well, as to CRISPR is not just potentially for human therapeutics, but also for the idea of reducing the pollution that we sort of have when it comes to animals and science, right? Like I said, at the early part of this video, it's sort of the gateway of science, right? It's always been for a long, long time, for as long as we can recollect, animals have always been the gateway before testing on humans. And that's not going to change anytime soon. But what can change, on top of setting certain guidelines and having a microscope on these universities and these labs and these companies, is that you introduce a technology that drastically reduces animal being tested, right? I think it's something great. I think it is more efficient, it's less costly, and ultimately, if you can reduce to 60% of animal tested, then that's a huge win for any quote unquote pro animal, right, organizations. It has to be a big win, right? And I think there should be a lot more of this discussion happening, you know. I think I think it's a shame that a lot of labs are still going through non-CRISPR technology for genome therapy or genome editing, when you have these types of statements here made by authors like this one here. I think it's worth looking into, it's worth discussing, and it's worth studying. Is this true? Because if it is, then maybe the other alternatives are no longer acceptable, because now you're endangering species at that point, right? You're putting more animals in danger than you should be, right? And that alone should be a statement that leads you to a technology that is favorable for the sustainability in science, right? When we talk about long-term science, when we talk about doing this through duty ethics, morals, ethics, and so on. So, like I said, greater good, this is where, there's a lot of philosophy there. But it's something to think about. So hopefully you guys appreciate this video. I am back from Greece finally after a week. I'm back to my office. Feels really good. I'm really excited to be pumping out videos for you guys. I got lots coming this week. It's going to be an interesting end of summer, midsummer, end of summer. I don't know where we are right now, but definitely not end of summer. I think we're midsummer. Midsummer. So it's going to be interesting. Really appreciate you guys watching this video. Thank you so much for watching. Do like this video if you found value. Subscribe if you've not. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.